This month, our themes are flow, patience, and abundance. And I had talked. Well, it's abundance today. So it's a new one. It's abundance today.
Allowed.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Never mind. I don't really have a talk today. No, flow, patience, and abundance are my topics for this month. So I told Susan when I took today's date to do the spiritual thought that I wanted to somehow make it around a joke, a trick that my dad used to play on me, and I couldn't figure out how I was going to do that. But that's really that was really the focus of this, was to tell this joke that my dad would do. And it was about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago that I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning with this talk. It was, all I had to do was just go and write it down. It was on little sticky notes, which I put into a more formal form. But anyway, so I'm going to share that dream with you. It was a PLC meeting. We were actually outside. We were outside someplace. The building was in the background. And, sorry, Stella.
It's okay.
The building was in the background, and we were outside, kind of going down on a lawn. And it was time for me to walk up to do the spiritual thought. And as I started to walk up, there was somebody that came from over this side of the building. And they're walking out and they're passing out flyers. And it's a deal. Here, it's $29.95. It's $29.95. Here, it's $29.95. And they're handing out this flyer about something. And I'm a little shook up because this is interrupting my presentation. And I hear Angie talk to Stella. I'm not paying $29.95 on that. There's no way I'm paying $29.95 for that. I'm thinking, okay, so this is going on, and I'm just getting ready to talk. And over from this side of the group walks in a couple, a man and a woman, a big woman with a real frumpy kind of grandma dress on. Nothing like what women are wearing today. Plain, and she's got that hat on with a veil, and she's carrying her purse like this. And next to her, she's got this little skinny Barney Fife kind of guy with her, henpecked. Little henpecked man. And she's saying, "Where's my son-in-law? Where's my son-in-law?" And she's looking around the crowd, and somebody says, oh, he's in prison. They've taken him to prison. Oh, good. Okay, well, fine. Thank you. And she walks away.
Less spicy food, Tim.
What's that? Less spicy food, yeah. So I think that's one of those nights. So anyway, so now I'm getting ready again because I want to do this talk about my dad's joke. And just as I'm ready to start speaking, someone from over on this side of the building says, "Tell them about the other thing. Tell them about the other thing. Just tell them about the other thing." And I'm like, I have no clue what this is all about. So finally things settle down, and I'm able to tell my dad's joke. My dad and I, one of our really nicest times to connect when I was 10 to maybe 13 or 14 years old, is we would go to the Dodger opening day at Dodger Stadium and see the Dodger game. And we went the very first game in Dodger Stadium, and I still remember very distinctly, and I think I was 10 years old. Was it 62, Susan? Yeah, so I was 10 years old. And one of the things that Dad did for years and years was that the vendors would walk around, and they're selling different stuff. And there was always a guy that was selling peanuts, bags of peanuts. And he could throw them behind his back, and he could throw them this way. And he was always going, "Hey, peanuts! Hey, peanuts! Hey, peanuts!" And my dad, and remember I'm like 10, 11, 12, my dad would always stand up and say, "How much is the hay? How much is the hay?" And I'm like, what in the world is he talking about? I never got it. And actually it took me probably 20 or 30 years. And at some point, oh, that's the joke. Hey, peanuts. How much is the hay? Yeah, see, right? It took me much longer than that.
We needed your help.
Yeah.
I needed your
And
help.
so in the joke, Dad's up, and he passed away about 20 years ago. He's up sitting by the building, and he's cracking up. He's laughing about that, oh, Tim finally got it. So for some reason, I realized that this dream was about this talk, which is flow, patience, and abundance. And so as I started thinking, I got up and I wrote a bunch of little scratchy notes down. And I looked at them the next day and I thought, okay, well, how do I make sense of this? Well, the flow part is easy, because here I was trying to be in the flow of this talk, and all these things were going on around me, and I realized that in our day-to-day life, that happens all the time. There's speed bumps, there's potholes, and sometimes they're really big potholes. But those things give us an opportunity to learn, to grow, to really kind of challenge ourselves and examine especially our spiritual beliefs. How do they fit in? So those speed bumps are nice. They give us a chance to grow. The patience, I thought the patience was easy. My dad was patient. He waited 20 or 30 years for me to finally get his joke. And I'm wondering if he was saying, how come the kid doesn't get this? He's pretty slow. He doesn't get this joke. So the abundance part was a little bit more difficult for me, and maybe because it was supposed to be acceptance, right? Yeah, but abundance. So I worked on abundance, and I realized that for most of us, when we think of abundance, if we pray or treat for abundance, oftentimes, I know this is true for myself, oftentimes I think about that as stuff. Wish I had a better car. Wish I had nicer clothes. I wish I had more of something physical. And I began to think about that, and I know that doesn't really guarantee, the stuff doesn't guarantee that I will feel abundant. And one of the stories I think about off and on, occasionally, when I think about abundance and happiness and all those things that abundance brings, is several years back, it was probably 10 or 15 years ago, I was doing some work at a friend's house down in Mexico. Beautiful house, sits right on the sand. Walk out the back door and you're on the beach, just north of Ixtapa on the Pacific coast of Mexico. And I was doing some work there, and his next door neighbor was a guy, Ernie, who was a retired tile setter from Minnesota. And Ernie had been living on the beach in Mexico for years. He was a thin guy. He was thin and a pot belly, which is weird, but Ernie was thin, but he had a pot belly. I think that was a cerveza belly. Really tan, and most of his front teeth missing. And Ernie one day asked me, he says, we need to go into town to get some stuff. You want to come with me? And I said, sure, yeah, I'll drive with you. So we get in Ernie's pickup truck, which is a little old beat-up truck with holes in the floorboard. So as we're driving down the dirt road along the beach, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops, and I'm looking at the road through the floorboard. And I'm smoking a cigar, which is one of my treats to myself on a rare occasion, especially when Susan's not in town. I mean, they're nasty. They stink and everything else, but it's a treat. So I'm smoking a cigar, and I'm driving with Ernie down this road, and I'm looking out at the surf as it's crashing on the sand. And I'm thinking, I am the wealthiest guy in the world now. There is nobody that is living better than I am at this moment. I thought, Bill Gates is in a meeting someplace, and I'm on a beach in Mexico. So I realize that stuff does not give us a sense of abundance, and that oftentimes when we treat for things and stuff, what we're really asking for is a feeling of security, or safety, or comfort in our life, or love in our life. And so I look back at one of my little scribbly notes, and I'd written abundance, not underlined material stuff, but ideas, insight, inspiration, and inner knowingness. That's what I wrote down at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I realized as I thought more about abundance that it's me. It's the I that makes the choices in our lives to be abundant. That I have the tools to bring abundance into my life, and all of those things that go along with it, peace and comfort and harmony and love in my life. And it's my ideas, it's my insights, it's my inspiration, and it's my inner knowing that brings abundance. And so it is.
So it is.